Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another Explainer. We are jumping right into a truly fascinating piece of analysis today from the Center for Cyber Diplomacy and International Security. It's written by Dr. Vladimir Tsakanyan, and it's titled "The State Becomes the AI Defender: California's New Model for Cybersecurity Governance." Look, if you follow tech policy at all, you know governments are basically obsessed right now with how to regulate artificial intelligence. But this source, it highlights an absolutely massive paradigm shift. Governments are realizing they can't just regulate AI from the sidelines anymore. They actually have to build it directly into the institutional architecture of public sector cyber defense. We're going to break down exactly how and why this is happening. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We're tracking a huge shift today, starting with the move to the AI defender mindset and then California's new security architecture. We'll look at the AI cybersecurity officer, protecting critical infrastructure, the new dependency problem, and wrap up with the future of AI governance. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The shift to AI defender. So to understand where we're going, we first have to understand where we've been. For the longest time, governments treated AI purely as something to regulate. They were on the outside looking in, right? Focusing on rules for privacy, bias, and transparency. That was the old way, government as an AI regulator. But California realized you can't just write rules for AI. You have to actively use it defensively. The new paradigm is the government acting as an AI defender and operator. It's not just how do we regulate this anymore, it's how do we use this to survive when AI becomes the baseline for cybersecurity. And this entire shift is driven by what the source calls the dual-use reality. Think about it. AI increases capacity on both sides of the security equation. Yes, it's an incredible tool for defenders. It can chew through massive volumes of security data, inspect code, speed up response times. But here's the problem. Hackers have access to those exact same capabilities. They're using AI for reconnaissance and to spit out malicious code at scale. Because the bad guys are leveling up so fast, the government literally has no choice but to adopt AI into its own defenses just to keep pace. Section 2. California's new security architecture. Now, what's really interesting about this transition is the sheer speed of the institutional change. I mean, just look at this sprint during the summer of 2026. In June, California inks a deal giving agencies access to Anthropic's Claude to scan state code. July, they launched their CalSecure 2.0 roadmap. August 10th, boom, a massive new AI cyber defense program is announced. And by August 21st, Mike Marshall is appointed as the new state CISO. Any one of those moves is a big deal on its own, but altogether in just a few weeks, they basically built a brand new institutional architecture overnight. By bringing AI in-house like this, the state is fundamentally changing its posture. They aren't standing on the outside of the tech ecosystem anymore. The government is now simultaneously an AI policymaker, a customer, an operator, and a security authority. It's the whole shebang. A single procurement decision, like deciding to buy an AI tool for a local agency, now instantly impacts state policy, security controls, and daily operations, all at once. Section 3. The AI Cybersecurity Officer. Now, all these overlapping roles create a massive logistical headache. To solve it, California introduced a really surprising experiment, a human job title. Every single state agency in California is now directed to designate an AI cybersecurity officer. The big takeaway here is that AI security requires clearly assigned, dedicated human responsibility. You can't just informally toss this onto the existing IT department's plate and hope for the best. To put that into perspective, historically, these two domains were totally separate. Traditional InfoSec handled your networks, vulnerabilities, and incident response. AI governance, that was for the lawyers, privacy officers, and procurement teams. But actually, when you have an AI system with access to sensitive government data, those two worlds smash together into one giant, overlapping problem. You can't just ask if an AI model is safe in a vacuum. You have to ask what sensitive databases it's touching and who's legally responsible if it leaks something. The AI cybersecurity officer acts as the bridge between those historically separate worlds. Section 4. Protecting critical infrastructure. So why is all this bureaucratic reshuffling absolutely crucial right now? Because we're not just talking about abstract digital concepts. We are talking about physical reality. This is where the digital world meets the physical one. We're talking about water systems, energy grids, transportation, and emergency services like 911. These systems are incredibly dependent on digital infrastructure. A digital breach here isn't just, a corrupted file. It rapidly becomes a very real public safety and economic crisis. The source frames this threat perfectly with this quote: "Machine-assisted attacks cannot indefinitely be countered through exclusively manual defensive processes." It completely hits the nail on the head. If attackers are automating their offensive operations with AI, defenders simply cannot keep up by having human analysts manually read through alerts. The sheer speed and scale of automated threats demand an equally capable automated defense. So, the crucial point here is that the answer isn't to just hand over the keys and let the AI run a fully autonomous defense with no supervision. No way. The central principle of this new governance has to be machine speed analysis combined with accountable human authority. The AI accelerates the detection, it does the heavy lifting, but humans, like those new AI cybersecurity officers, must be the ones who determine acceptable risk, escalation thresholds, and ultimate accountability. Section 5. The new dependency problem. Integrating AI into defense seems like a no-brainer, right? Well, it actually introduces a massive new complication. When a government buys into commercial AI to defend its critical infrastructure, it creates this cascading chain of risk. The government relies on a cybersecurity platform, which depends on an AI model, which depends on a commercial provider, which is ultimately sitting on some external cloud or hardware infrastructure. By adopting AI for defense, you are basically introducing new concentrations of risk. The defensive capability itself becomes a piece of critical infrastructure that could be targeted or just accidentally go offline. Because of that exact fragility, the source argues that the strategic objective has to be resilient AI adoption, not just maximum AI adoption. There is a huge difference between blindly rushing to grab the newest, flashiest AI model and ensuring that your state's emergency services can actually survive and keep functioning if a commercial AI provider suddenly goes dark. And believe it or not, this local domestic resilience has massive global implications. You might wonder what a local California water system has to do with international cyber diplomacy, but they're directly linked. You can't effectively negotiate internationally or project credibility abroad if your hometown energy grid is easily hacked. If your essential services are vulnerable locally, the national government has way less leverage globally. Section 6. The future of AI governance. So zooming out, what does California's blueprint mean for the future of AI governance across the entire country? We're looking at a clear division of labor emerging. On one side, you have the federal government, focusing on broad policy strokes, like the National Legislative Framework from March 2026. Their job is establishing national strategy and rules. But on the other side, you have the states. They are the ones actually running massive public benefit platforms and emergency management systems day to day. They are responsible for the operational resilience that citizens actually rely on. And this brilliantly illustrates what the source calls federated AI cybersecurity governance. It's a divided system, national strategy paired with state-level operational resilience. California's experiment, bringing AI directly into the state's defensive ops and creating dedicated human roles to oversee it, could very well become the operational template for the entire United States. As this federated model takes shape, these are the rhetorical questions we really need to be asking. We are moving way beyond just asking if an AI is biased. Now it's, what critical systems can this AI actually reach? What government credentials is it using? And most importantly, who exactly has the human authority to override it when things inevitably go wrong? AI governance has moved firmly out of abstract tech philosophy and directly into the hard reality of security architecture. We also have to keep asking, what happens if the model or its underlying commercial infrastructure is compromised? That long dependency chain we talked about earlier is fragile. The more we rely on AI to defend our critical infrastructure, the more vulnerable we are to a failure within the AI's own supply chain. Which leaves us with this final, ultimate test for the next generation of AI governance. The future isn't going to be defined solely by governments writing rules for machines from the outside. It will be defined by this question: can governments securely operate and defend society when machines become an integral part of the security environment itself? California is taking the first major steps to figure that out, and you can bet the rest of the world will be watching closely. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, Focused Learners. Keep questioning, keep analyzing, and I'll see you in the next one.